Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so, Skype cannot connect to my webcam. Weird. Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to go without that. So, all right. So, have you been working on? Is it a quiz?
I can't even get past the lesson.
Okay. Can you go ahead and open up the lesson and then share your screen with me? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how to share your screen? Okay.
Yes. Really? Sorry, my best friend's in Kentucky right
Oh,
now.
yeah?
So we really
Okay.
don't get to talk.
What part of Kentucky?
I don't know. She's visiting her
Oh, okay.
sister, so I really don't know. All I know is
Okay.
she's in Kentucky, and I
That's
missed
been
her.
only Kentucky. All right. So try solving quadratic equations by finding roots. By finding square roots. So what are they talking about here? So 4x squared is 25 equal. Okay.
I can go back
Okay.
to the page before, but this is the page I left off on last night.
All right.
And
Do me a
it
favor.
frustrated me really
Put
badly.
in
I'm like, I don't get
x
it.
equals plus or minus 5 over 2. And if it's right, then okay. Then I'll tell you how I do. All right. So I'm actually going to Skype over a Skype you over a link quick. And go ahead and click on it. And then you over to this Dabble board.
Okay.
And then just let me know when it comes up. Sometimes it usually takes a few to load. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could dig that.
Yeah, at my house, I have to use the Sprint when I'm on Skype. So,
Okay.
it's not the fastest.
So we have 4x squared. Okay. Now can you see what I'm writing here? Equals 0. Okay.
Yes.
So basically all we're doing here is we're taking the square root of everything. So we take the square root of that side and and we take the square root of both sides, right? Because anything in an algebra problem, anytime you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other side.
Which would be 2
Yep.
and 5.
So 2, so the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of x squared is x, right? The square root takes away the square, minus
Right, and that one's going to be 0.
5, square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 0 is 0.
Right.
And then we can just solve it algebraically.
Yes.
Okay, so we add 5 to both sides. That cancels. So we have 2. So we have 2. What's going on here? Sorry. So we have 2x equals 5. Divide both sides by 2. That'll get x by itself. So we have x equals 5 over 2. Yep. Okay, so does that kind of make sense there? Okay. So let's check one here.
Yeah.
Okay. So divide each side by the coefficient before you find the square root. So that means we have 3x squared equals 24. Yep. Okay.
And
Okay.
then you.
So we divided
you
both
get
sides by
8.
3, and we end up with x squared equals 8, right?
But from
Take the square root of both
there,
sides.
I
That'll give us x
wasn't
equals.
sure.
And I think
Like, once
I'd
they
want you to
start
write it
adding
as
the
the square root of
number, and then the square root sign, I'm not sure on how.
that would be the cube root. The square root of 8 is it's like some weird decimal. It's like 2.8 something 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 something. So if you just click on your special, click the square root button to left there. Yep, and put 8,
Which would be 2 and 4. 2.
and then close your parentheses,
Right.
and divide by 3 on both sides. We did that. Oh, I see. By square root. So the square root of 8. Let me see here. So that would be 2 times the square root of 2.
Right.
Right,
What
instead
I'm
to square root
thinking
of
they
4.
want as the answer is
So they're
this.
actually simplifying everything. I see. Yeah, there it is. Do you remember how to do that? Do you remember how to do all the simplifications and all that? Okay. All right, so let's go back to the dabble board here.
Yeah.
So we have the square root of 8. All right, now the main thing to remember is the square root of products
I don't
equals
ever
the
remember
products of
learning
square
that.
roots. Okay? What I mean by that is the square root of 8, you could break that down into the square root of 4 times 2. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, right. Which school was that? Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. Okay. Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay, so the main thing to remember, so you can break down 8 into its factors, right?
I think when
So
I learned
4
this in
times
Algebra
2.
1 last year,
Okay.
I think
So
I
the square
failed
root
it
of 4
at
times 2 is
And
the
then my
same
teacher
thing
helped
as the
me, but
square
I
root
was
of 4
using Angel in a different
times
school at the
the
time.
square root of 2.
Vilas.
Okay? So that's what I mean by
They're another
the square
Colorado
root
only
of
online
products
school.
is the same thing as the product of square roots. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So then, the square root of 4, that comes out to a whole number. So that's 2, and the square root of 2 does not. So we just leave that one as is. So we have 2 times the square root of 2. So does that kind of make sense? Okay. All right, so let's try another one here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have x squared minus 1/4 equals. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing we want to do is add 1/4 to both sides, right? So we end up with x squared equals 1/4. Okay? And then, when we are taking the square root of a fraction, we take the square root of both the top and bottom. So if you want to look at the double board again. So, and this is actually the same kind of rule like we were doing. So this one is, so taking the square root of 1/4
Right.
is the same thing as taking the square root of 1 over the square root of 4. Okay. So what's the square root of 1? Yep. And the square root of 4? Yep. Okay. So yep, so that's it. So the square root of 1/4 is 1/2. So does that make sense there?
Isn't that 1?
Okay.
2?
Parachutists. Okay, so try solving 1,000 equals negative 16t squared plus 1,600. Okay, so this, you just need to take the square root of everything.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you'd subtract 1,000 from both sides, so you'd have 0 on that one side? Okay. You can do it that way. I think that do it that way when you're working with the quadratic formula. But in this one, you don't really need to because you're just taking square roots of everything.
But I have a question, because in the last section, like in the
No, not quite.
part before this, they were having us, before we did all of that, they were having us equal everything to 0.
It's actually going to
so
be kind of
it'd
weird.
like, instead of it looking like that, let me get it written down on my paper and I'll put it on a dabble board. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let me know what you get.
Okay. The square root of 1,000 is 100. No.
Okay. You can use a calculator for that one if you have one available, because it's a weird decimal.
Okay, so for the negative, I squared the negative 16, and I got 4. And then I squared the positive 1600.
Yeah. I got
I got
31.6227766. Yeah.
And I haven't found the 1,000 yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. I mean, I'm using my scientific calculator, so. 31.2. Okay. 0.622. Yeah. That's probably close enough. And then we end up with just basically an algebra problem, right? So yep. Okay. Right.
I'm using
Ari will be back in just a couple minutes. He's wait for him. Okay. And so then,
Yeah.
so then we just need to subtract 40 from both sides.
I kind of cheated in my phone that I use for my phone, because I use that instead of an actual calculator as a scientific phone. And that's actually I get 31.227. 0.622.
Yep.
Yeah, we end up with
Click it one more time to make sure that
x plus
what did we do wrong
40
here?
equals 31 point whatever. 31.6 is what I'm just gonna say. Because you can't round it.
Oh, I see. And then they actually, so they divided both sides. They wanted to isolate two first. Okay, I see. So we just, kind of did it a little backwards. That's probably why we ended up with a different answer. Okay, all right, makes sense. So yeah, I guess I would do it that way. Okay.
I'm getting x equals 2.1. Okay, 13. They rounded. Okay, so looking at the top one, they subtracted the 1600
Okay,
first.
so for this one, let's
And they
do
got
it that way.
600. then they
So
would,
we'll add 9 to both sides. So we end up with x squared equals 9,
Yeah.
and then we'll take the square root.
and then they did the squared.
So, what's that? Not a, because remember it's plus or minus. It's b, because b encompasses a.
I need
Yeah.
to write it in my notes real fast.
Yep. So b, because that's 3 and negative 3. So 10x squared equals 25 by finding square roots. Let's see.
Right. You get A.
All right. So
You get A. Okay, so it's A and B. Yeah, sorry. I was looking
okay. So we
at
take
A
them.
and
So
I
we
saw
divide
it
both
as
sides by
B,
10.
and that said A and B.
Yeah. Right. So. Okay, so square root of 10 over 2. Okay. So how do we do that? Okay, so we have, all right, so if we divide both sides by 10, we basically end up with x squared equals 25 over 10. Now we can take the square root of both, and we end up with 5 over the square root of 10. Now, how are they getting it? Because, like, let's see, it's going to be root 10 over 2. Yeah. So it should be the root 10 over 2. You don't want to leave square roots in the denominator, so you can manipulate it to make it to be root 10 over 2.
Right, and you get 2.5. And the square root of 2.5 is like 1 point something.
Just run it real slow. There we go. All right. So 9x squared minus 81 equals 0. Alright, so let's do this where we add 81 to both first. We'll divide both sides by 9. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It can be very weird. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this looks like the start of solving quadratic equations by factoring. So why don't you go ahead and go through this, and then just give me a call back. Send me like a Skype message or something if you're having any other issues. Okay. All right. Bye.
This one will be D. For some reason, like, I don't understand square roots. When they start giving me things with square roots, I get very confused. Like, I barely just started understanding the quadratic. And then, like, Lon Hoffman, my academic coach, sat there, opened it up, and went through it with me. And then when you emailed me back, I was at a party or a school party already and was done with school for the day. Yes. Okay. Okay, sounds good.